Hi, thank you for tuning in to Candidly Fierce. I am your host, Terese Alexander, and I am the founder of Fierce Financial Services. Candidly Fierce is a podcast that we created to normalize financial conversations. We want to start having simple conversations with everyday people about why finances are important and just talk about things that people normally wouldn't talk about. Today's topic is regaining financial stability after a toxic relationship. We have three incredible people who are going to chime in on this topic, and we're just going to talk and see how we can overcome, how we can regain financial stability if that's a thing, and go from there. So let's start with our first guest, Taishi Cherie.
Hello, I'm Taisha Cherie. I'm 38 years old and I am a preschool teacher.
Hello, my name is Clinton. I'm an IT professional. I've worked in the government, private sector, nonprofits, don't really matter. Recently started my own business, working with that at this present time. Oh, do I need to say my age as well?
Up to you.
Yeah, I'm 21.
Okay. 21 it is. Last but not least, Katrina.
I am Terese Alexander. I am 37 years old. I am a high school teacher, teaching radio, TV broadcasting, commercial photography, graphic design, and also councilwoman at large for the city of Hammond.
All right. Thank you all for being here. To give you a brief blurb on me, as I said, I am Terese Alexander, and I am a wealth and strategy architect. I use my corporate principles and methodologies to teach businesses and entrepreneurs how to create and implement cost-saving initiatives by streamlining policies and procedures to increase their cash flow while maintaining their profit lines. I also teach financial literacy to the leaders of today and tomorrow because I truly believe that everyone needs to know how to create and maintain generational wealth. All right, so all the business out the way, let's get into this conversation. Toxic relationships. All right, y'all. So I think we all have either had or been in a toxic relationship. So if I ask you for the definition of a toxic relationship, what would you say it is?
You know what? I'll say this. A toxic relationship to me is one that does not allow you to thrive and move forward in your life. One that stops you from doing the things that you were originally destined to do. One that puts you down, one that does not put you as an equal, but makes you a subordinate, one that tries to keep you also under financial constraint. That's toxic.
That's toxic. Okay.
I would also like to add to that a toxic relationship is something that possess nothing negative energy. There's no positive energy within it. Everything is negative, but at the same time, it can be addictive or attractive to some people.
So I'll look at the definition. According to Webster, a toxic relationship is a relationship that is poisonous or damaging, right? And so toxic relationships, as we know, it can be any relationships. It can be dating, roommates, family, friends, you name it. Everybody can be toxic, right? Some examples for some people who are saying, I've never been in a toxic relationship, right? Is a sign that you're in a toxic relationship is if your spouse refuses to work for no reason at all and completely depends on you. Let's say your roommate has a gambling problem and can't contribute to the bills, the rent, to nothing. And or you have a family member or close friend that keeps borrowing money and never seems to have any money to pay you back. All of these are examples of a toxic relationship from the sense that we're talking about today from a financial perspective. Out of curiosity, what are some signs that you are dealing with a person who is financially toxic? Not the examples I gave you, but personal examples. Well, let me first ask, have you all ever dealt with someone who was financially toxic?
Yeah.
Or are you financially toxic? Let me not leave that out, because we may be financially toxic and not know we're financially toxic as well.
You're right about that. But at the same time, I mean, we're not gonna sit and say, oh no, it's me, it's me, it's me. I mean, let's be honest about it. Like, it's definitely not me, it's them. I'm gonna tell you that now. It ain't never me, it's them. As far as some of the things that you can sit and talk about, or the things you can sit and go over with your partner or your friend or whoever it is. I mean, they may, like you said, they may not know that they're toxic. They may not know that they're being toxic. But I mean, me personally, I look at it as if they don't allow you to grow as a person or as a friend. You know what I'm saying? Growth is something that we all do. You know, we grow every day, we grow every year. You know, with Ty, you know, you're a teacher, you're a preschool teacher. Both of you guys are teachers, right? Yeah, so you guys are teachers. So people change, all right? And over time, you can actually see how a student changes. So you can see a student at the beginning of the year start out and you like, you know what? I need you to go back to your mama because we're going to have a whole situation. And then at the end of the year, you like, you know what? You turned out, you was all right, little Cleophas, you know, everything was good with you, you know, have a good day, you know, whatever it is. But with your partner, as far as being in this relationship, this toxic financial relationship, it may start out bad in the beginning. And it may just say, hey, look, you know what? You may be able to work it out. But a lot of times it don't, because we as people, or we as, I would say, I'm going to use me. So I will sit and say, oh, I can fix this, or, oh, let's figure out a way to fix this. And I end up in a whole nother situation that this person don't know nothing about. But I say that to say this, you know, people can actually change, and we change every day. You know, this president, when he first came into office to where he is now, he's changed. You know, you've changed since this COVID back in March or April. You've changed. You changed the way you learn. I mean, the way you teach. You change the way, a lot of different things. So I would say that they just don't make room for you to grow.
You spoke about a couple of things that I noted. One of them was growth. And you said that we grow and change every day. Do you believe that it is possible that people can grow apart? Right? Like in the beginning, maybe we were on the same page. Maybe my hopes, dreams, even how I handle my money changed over time. Right? Do you think that plays a part of the relationship? Or do you think, I heard you say that you feel like you can always fix it, things always come together. Do you think that that's always the case?
In some cases, yes. In other cases, no. But the answer to your question is yes. People can grow apart, either financially. A lot of times, to be honest with you, most of the time, it's about finances is what breaks up a lot of relationships. And it can be something simple as, say, dog, I gave you $100, where my money at? And you know what I'm saying? Now they're not even friends. When they grew up together back in the day, they done went through elementary, middle school, and high school together, and they beefing over $100. So yeah, definitely it does have an effect on that. Like,
Let me ask another question. I know a lot of people say money is the root of all evil, right? We hear that all the time. I don't believe that. I think it's how people use money that controls and dictates evil. But my question would be, Clinton just gave an example on how someone could have loaned someone $100, and they've been friends, say, since 5. They're our age now, right? That $100 just ended a friendship, right? Do you think that $100 or any sum of money is enough to end a friendship? Do you think people take it overboard when they be like, I'm never talking to so-and-so over money?
First, I'll say that phrase is always misquoted, because it should actually be the love of money is the root of our evil. That's what the scripture says. The love of money is the root of all evil. So when you look at that phrase and you look at the question you just asked, a lot of times I think people go into things with the wrong mindset. I was always taught that if you're going to loan someone something, if someone asks me for $100, if I cannot part with it to the point where I won't miss it, then I should not loan it.
I agree.
But the problem comes in is that people will loan people money that they really can't afford to give. And I think that that is when it becomes a problem, because you put yourself in a bad position loaning this person this money or giving this money to this person. And now you're upset, you're frustrated, you're angry, you have all these different emotions about money that you shouldn't have. And a lot of times people take it to that extreme. So I really just think it depends on how the person went into it. But I was always taught, if you're going to loan someone something, loan it to them like you're going to give it to them. And if you can't afford to give it to them, then don't even loan it. Because you're just putting yourself in a position to be upset, angry, frustrated, and a friendship ending because of money. And it doesn't have to be. I mean, you can just say, I can't do it at this time.
I can give you something on it, but I can't do the whole $100. Here's $10. Call somebody else.
No, I totally agree with Ty on that. Like, that's how I am. I don't loan anybody anything that I can't afford to give away. You know, it's just the same as I don't spend any money that I can't afford right at that moment. If I know I got a bill, and I'll tell you flat out, hey, look, I can't loan you it right now because I have to take care of X, Y, and Z. But if I got it, you know, my friends have always been welcome to it.
I agree with that. That's a principle that I live by as well, right? However, I can also say that I can agree, especially from a perspective of a relationship, right? That I've been in some toxic financial situations, right? And to say, I mean, I think at sometimes we don't even think of it as a loan, right? I think when I think of toxic relationships, right? And let me actually go into why I'm speaking of toxic relationships first, before we even talk about regaining financial stability. You have to identify that there's a problem. You have to address that, the relationship is toxic. Ty pointed out in the very beginning that sometimes people are attracted to toxic people. Some people love negativity. Some people love to be surrounded by drama. Some people love to always be in the midst of it. I personally feel like I'm allergic to it. I don't want any drama. I want your drama, my drama, and the world's drama, right? That's just how I operate. But it's because I've gone through so much, right? But in a situation, even living off of don't loan what you don't have, I think that people can become financially dependent and or financially selfish towards you. Financially dependent from a perspective of, if somebody is always like, yo, you got it, or yo, you make more money, or oh, I see how you're living. They always seem to never have money. They always seem to have an excuse. And it may not start off as large sum of money, right? Because $5 here, $10 here, $20 here, that all adds up. And then some people are financially selfish. They have money in their pocket, but they always cry broke. All right, yo, I don't have it. Or yo, I'm gonna get you next time. Let's go eat. It's on you this time. Next time it's on me. No, right? And next time never comes. Right? So when I think about it all, and I think about where we could potentially go with this, wouldn't you say that this is a form of abuse?
It is.
Yeah, I agree. I can agree with that. And I mean, and I think that's where your wisdom comes into play. I have someone that is constantly asking me for some dollars even now. And I'll just flat out tell them, I don't have it. You know, they know I have it. But when you're constantly coming back thinking, okay, I know I can go to this person, they're going to give it. At some point, you have to also be wise and say, you know what? I'm not giving anymore, because you're abusing it. You're not managing your finances well enough that you have to keep asking the same person for something, or multiple people for that case. Because I don't know who else you're asking, trying to get whatever you're trying to get.
in the midst of a situation. So everybody put your mind back into a situation where you were dealing with somebody that was financially toxic, right? Or financially abusive. And thinking of it back at that point, right? How far were you into the situation, right? Before you realized that you were in a toxic or abusive, right? Financial situation.
So I realized that after I was married. My ex-husband told me that I can go to the grocery store, but said I can only use $30 on his card for food for the house. And I'm like, what's $30 going to do? You know, that you're trying to hold something financially over me when you want me to pay for the bulk of the food. And you have a job too. What are you doing? When you can go and buy multiple guns and things and whatever you want, but yet the necessities of the house are not met. And you find that even out after your divorce or after your separation, it puts you in a financial bind. It makes you financially jacked up as well because the two became one. So when you really think about it, that's not something I would tell my spouse is you can only use $30 on my card and then not have an explanation when that person is getting food for the whole house to make sure that everybody eats.
Mine is too fresh. I can't share mine. But I get you, girl. Like that's that's crazy. I mean, so he was keeping score. That's what I call keeping score.
Yeah. Yeah, you can call it that. You can call it keeping score. I mean, I've been divorced since 2012. I had to think. So nothing's fresh. But you have to, in relationships, it's not a me for me, it's a we. It's what are we doing for our house? And when you start to separate things and say you can only do this, the real question comes in is, why can't I only do this? What's really going on when I know that you should have X, Y, and Z there to be taken care of?
I haven't been in very many toxic financial relationships. So the only one that I can think of is when I was married. I hadn't started my job yet. I had already had the interview, so I know I was going to start working. But he was working, and the light bill was due. So I was like, okay, well, I can go and I can get some help. He needed a Indiana driver's license. He refused to get one. Wouldn't get an Indiana ID, nothing. His was still Illinois. And his father told him to leave it Illinois. So I couldn't get help. The lights got cut off. I ended up getting them cut back on, but the reality of it became that I was responsible for the bulk when it came to finances. So I was left with all of the bills. Some of them were not mine, and or not bills that I created. So it put me in a bad situation at that time. And I've never been in it since. That was the first and last time that that's happened. And it's been about, I would say, since about 2012, 2013, something like that, when we got a divorce. I even paid for that. So just, realizing but the incident with the electric bill, that let me know there that I was going to be responsible. So I knew what was going to happen, what was going to take place, that I was going to be the one that was going to be financially responsible for everything.
Did you see any red flags or signs right? You both talked about your marriages, right? And toxic relationships. Clinton, you said that your situation is too new. So I'm assuming that was a dating relationship as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
So in going into it, right, and experiencing whatever you all experience, right? Did you see any red flags? Not on your relationship part. That's a whole nother conversation, right? But just in how they handled money. And I guess I can be kind of transparent and clear as well. So I also was in a toxic relationship. I actually have been in a couple, just to be honest. And I can say the last one I was in, my ex significant other told me that he wasn't created to work a 9 to 5. He was too good to work a 9 to 5. He ain't want to work. It caused a lot of confusion, right, in the household from a perspective of bills, what needed to be done, how it was done, and everything fell on me. The funny thing is, you know, even if I piggyback on what Clinton said earlier about no one actually points the finger at themselves, he did not think he was toxic, right? There were traits along the way. Like if I think of conversations we had in our dating and talking phase, right? He would tell me about how different people would tell him and give him feedback about himself. And I would just listen to it and say, oh, okay, but you know what? I'm different. You wouldn't do me like that, right? I'm not her, right? And I'm quite sure everyone does that, even men. Like, I ain't him. Like, that dude lame. I'm not that dude. Nah, I ain't that buster. I ain't that square, you know, or whatever we say in whatever area we're in, right? But there's always something. There's something that turns us around, right? Because I'm a big component. I really do believe that people can only treat us how we allow them to treat us, right? So would you say that you ignored any red flags along the way?
I definitely ignored some things. I wasn't cautious enough. I was looking at the fact that, okay, you know, I'm married, blah, 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 you know, this, that, and the other, but you're treating the marriage like single life, and you're just buying anything that you want without consulting first. Saying, you know, not, you know, it's not like you have to have total permission, but when it comes down to finances and there's bills that have to be paid for the house, the rent, NIPSCO, water, phone bills, cable bill, whatever, when it's stuff like that that needs to be paid, you can't go out and buy a new weapon or some new clothes at that moment when that's not a necessity. We have to understand there's a difference between wants and needs. Necessities is, yeah, we need to have clothes, we need to have food, we need to have shelter, we need to have lights, gas, water. But when it comes down to buying new things, that's a want. And knowing the difference, there were so many red flags. It was always, I want this, I'm going to get it. Not thinking about the bills. So when it came down to it, for me, once the separation happened, I found out how much in the hole we were on rent that was supposed to be taken care of, months behind in rent, that we could have been evicted at any moment. And that had to be taken care of. The rent piece, even after the separation. So you find yourself still in a financial hole. You find yourself in a financial hole on credit cards because you're trying to figure out, well, he only gave me only $30, but we need this amount of food in the house. Well, I got to use a credit card for that because I don't have it in this because this bill was due. So you found yourself in a personal financial debt that you're still trying to get out of.
Red flags didn't happen until after I do. There was nothing that let me know that that was what was going to take place until after I do. Before that, he took care of things. He took care of his business. He did the things that he needed to do. So I never thought that it would become an issue when we got married. But bad advice, him listening to other people and not communicating with me or telling me one thing, but speaking to his parents and it being something different is what I noticed. So when he got that bad piece of advice to keep everything Illinois, just in case something happens, that's when I knew that something was going to be wrong. But still thinking that, okay, well, I can maneuver this and it can change. But then it turned into so many other things involving money, about things that needed to be done. But I think that sometimes people don't show you their red flags until after they say, I do. Some people can be very cunning in that way and will hide those things until I do. And then the mask comes off and, oh, well, I'm comfortable now, so this is what I'm going to do. And purchasing things, and you get paid, and when you get home, you have a bag and it's video games, and it's not anything that you need. Like she said, it's not anything that you need, but it was something that you wanted. And so now I'm left to pay the bills because you spent your check. So just things like that. But no, I didn't see any red flags before I do.
How did you find out that that person was seeking advice outside, like financial advice outside the relationship? Did he just sit and say, hey, look, I talked to my mom about this, or, hey, my sister said this? I mean, how did you find that out? Because that's kind of crazy.
The conversation with his dad happened in front of me. So I heard his dad say, don't get the, don't get an Indiana ID. That happened in front of me.
Wow. I mean, what is the so
that happened in front of, but other conversations, I would find out just based off of the decisions he would make and the way he would do things. I knew he spoke to someone else. I had a conversation with his mother one time, and she brought up the fact that the NIPSCO got cut off and that I wasn't taking care of my business. But I had to
situations, I mean,
politely tell her. No. I had to politely tell her that he moved in with me. I did not move in with him. I had that place before him. It was mine. So handling business was not a problem of mine. But I'm just saying that I her know that. So there were different occasions where different things took place regarding money. As far as me saving up money, we have to do laundry. Him not wanting to spend the money on doing laundry, let's take it to my father's house. Well, I don't want to go to your father's house and wash clothes. Because what does that do? That makes me look bad. It doesn't make you look bad. That makes me look bad. And we have the money to do it. So why not just do it here? Why take our clothes somewhere else? So there was a lot of different things that regarded money that we were not in agreements with when it came to money. So that's how I knew that he was talking to other people. But he automatically assumed that I was. And that wasn't the case, because that's not how I was raised. I was raised that you get married, you don't have to tell us. My parents said, you don't have to tell us anything. That's not our business. Whatever goes on in your house, that's your house. Mm-hmm. If you want some advice, we can give you advice, but you still don't have to tell us the whole scenario.
Right.
You don't have to break down the whole thing. But he automatically assumed that that's what I was doing, and that wasn't the case.
I only asked the question because, I feel like I'm cut from a different cloth, because I would think that if you're married, you would want your wife to be comfortable. You would want your wife to literally have no issues. You know what I'm saying? Because you do know within, 90 days you can get that whole thing, the annulment or something like that.
It's on your state. Every state does not. Every state does not have annulments. Oh. So some states, once you're married, you're married. In order for that marriage to be dismissed, you have to go through the full divorce process. They were married in Indiana. Their marriages, they needed, after they said I do and that marriage license was signed, if they wanted to end it the next day, they had to file papers for a full divorce.
Mm-mm.
But I don't want to go down the road of marriages and divorce.
Yeah.
Like, we can say this conversation for another day. One of the questions I have, though, because everyone is speaking on their dating relationship, so I'm kind of curious, did anyone have any type of financial conversations before entering your situations?
Yes.
No.
Ty?
I'm going to say yes. In my situation, everything was actually taken care of as far as contracts wrote out, this, that, the third. In my situation, without going all into it, the contract was wrote out because I'm not dealing with you, because we are better as friends. We're friends, you know. Because of all of this, you decide that, hey, look, you want to make a decision and you want to do something else. And that's totally fine. You know, everybody's grown. Like you said, we said this in the beginning, people grow, things like that. You decide that you want to violate the contract. You want to violate a contract, then okay, then that's cool. I think that we should probably go to court about this whole situation. So yes, we definitely talked about money. We wrote it out. We did everything we were supposed to do. And still in the end, this person decided to go against the grain. So yeah. And I've done that in not only that relationship, but I've done it in previous relationships as well. So I think it's something good to talk about, to be honest with you. And if you like have a bank or a credit union or something like that, you can also go sit down and do a financial counseling with your partner. Just something to do. You know what I'm saying? Just something to do. Hey, look, we getting out the house. We're going to do a financial counseling. Put your mask on. Let's go. Boom. You do yours first, then I'm going to do mine. All right, we go sit somewhere else. And then we can bring it together and be like, oh, okay, cool. But you definitely have to talk about money, because money will definitely end your relationship.
I 100% agree. I think anytime you decide that you're going to enter into a relationship with anyone, right, that has some type of financial impact on you, you need to talk about money. You need to pay attention to their spending and saving habits. You need to look and talk over what your expectations are, especially as we enter into marriages, right? You need to talk about what's your expectations. Like, okay, are you going to handle all the heavy stuff and I handle the household stuff? Are we splitting everything 50-50? Are we saving? What are we doing? We need to have that conversation. We need to normalize having those conversations. I know from previous podcasts I've done and talking to other sets of people that one of the things people say is, well, our parents didn't teach us that, right? We have no idea of how they handled money or what happened in our household. So therefore we don't have those conversations, right? But at some point in time, we have to break the generational curse. We have to create new truths, right? So we've talked a lot about toxicity in relationships and the financial abuse portion. Trina, you mentioned that your divorce now has been 8 years ago. Ty, your situation is about the same. I know, Clinton, your situation is fresh, but the whole topic of this podcast is regaining financial stability. So the question I have is, before I tell you the steps to regain financial stability, can you all share with me, what did you do to regain financial stability? Not saying that you're there, right? Not saying that you feel that you're fully stable, but let's just say that you feel that you can breathe again.
What I've done for me is I picked up a second job. You know what I'm saying? It's not anything ideal or anything like that. It's just some extra money to help me fill in the void of, okay, I'm not in anything anymore. Let me go and get this. Let me go and do this. And it can only help me in the end. Of course, it doesn't help my relationship life because you're always at work. But I mean, if you just chilling and you doing you and you're in a process of stacking your money and you want to go into something fresh, when you go into something fresh and, you know, you got your money, she got her money, and y'all could go and get y'all an ice cream cone and all that good stuff. That's what I really like. You know, something just fresh. Like, I ain't got to worry about who gonna pay for this, you or me. You know, you ain't got to really worry about that, you know. But I mean, me personally, I just get up, take my tail to work. In between working, then you do your workout, then you do your next job. That's how you do it right there. Boom, boom. That's how I did it. Keep you busy. You don't have to drink up all your E&J, and you can call it a day.
Regaining my confidence was a key thing for me to do. I had to regain my confidence and knowing that the situation was bad. The situation put me in a debt. The situation made me go back and live with my parents. In the midst of living with my parents, it was tough in the beginning. It was like, okay, for the first 3 years, I'm like, am I really back home? But then I had to say, you know what? Things finally started to look up. I had became a teacher. My career changed. And then I started to financially gain some independence back, where it wasn't robbing Peter to pay Paul. It was, man, I am finally starting to pay down some of this debt. And I'm not out of all of my debt yet, but I became enough out of my debt for God to allow some other things to happen. I went on to win an election. I'm an elected official. So I got a second job for the next 4 years. By doing that, that financial stability there allowed me to go ahead and say, you know what? Let's do something with this. You got an extra income for 4 years. You know you're going to be a teacher for at least 4 more years. Because of the pathway that I teach, I can do just about anything because I do radio, TV broadcasts, and commercial photography and graphic design. So if I wanted to run my own business, I could. I can create multiple streams of income because I DJ and all these other things. But I said, you know what? Let me hold off on that right now. Let me get my bearings with these 2 important jobs right now. So I bought a house. I thought my credit wasn't good enough because my credit got jacked up. When I say jacked up, it was jacked up. Jacked up. And so it allowed me to build my credit back up. We had got a car in my name. Me and my parents, we got a car in my name. We traded that car in. So trading that car in allowed for my credit to get boosted up because we traded it in and I didn't have anything else in my name in form of a vehicle. When that boosted my credit, it allowed me to buy my home that I'm sitting in now. I bought a home that I didn't think I can get because I refused to pay somebody's rent. I didn't think I can get this house. And I'm able to afford this house on my teacher salary, not the extra salary. So now all the extra stuff that I'm doing, I'm saving, I'm paying off some stuff, so I'm saving and paying off, I'm doing both, trying to, get out of that debt. So I got an interest-free truck and I have a low interest rate on my mortgage.
Amen.
The 2 of those combined allows me to save and do more. And now I'm like, I want to live. I want to go take trips. I want to go do things. So I already made my first payment on my trip because I said, I want to do more and I need to have something to show for my hard work of getting to where I am now.
Those are great things, Trina. Congratulations.
Thanks. And it didn't take another person to do it. God showed me that I can do it by myself. When I thought I had the mindset that I could not move out on my own, this is why I got married in the first place.
Oh, no. See, that's not me. I'm not doing that.
Because I allowed for it. We were talking about all these toxic relationships, toxic things. I wanted to be out so bad that it was by any means necessary.
Yeah.
So I got married. I wasn't thinking totally, I love the person, but when I really realized what the difference between love and being in love with a person, I was like, oh crap.
I'm already out here though.
Like, oops. Yeah, exactly. And I'm not that type of person. Terese can tell you, I'm not that type of person that I don't did it. I'm going to try to stick through it. You're going to have to leave first. I'm not going to be the one to leave because I'm an ordained minister. So in the church life, you hear you're not supposed to get a divorce, all this stuff. So I had all this stuff in my head. And it allowed me to stay and continue to be financially burdened. And once I got out, things changed in my life and shifted. Got a good job, started a career, started a 401k because I cashed the other one in to keep myself afloat in a marriage. You know, because those are things that happens. You like, okay, I'm trying to make this work, and you start damaging yourself. I cashed in my 401k from a previous job that was a lot of money, all for us to waste it.
Yeah, blew that.
It wasn't even put to the right thing. So it's so many things that you find yourself doing because you want things to work, but then you have to realize it just ain't working, and it's okay. And stop allowing people to say, don't do that. When you start allowing people in your head that's not giving you the right advice, you find yourself up in a world of trouble, financially, physically, mentally, spiritually.
I like what you said, Katrina. You was like, you was blessed to actually go that route. And it seemed like, I'm gonna be honest with you, it seems sometimes when people look at me or they see how I act in the streets or how I talk. I was in the military for 8 years, okay? A lot of my sentences when I talk, they can be pretty bad. You can look at me and be like, you know what? I got some holy water. This is what he needs right here, right now. But I like what you said, because a lot of times what a lot of people don't know is when you get into a situation like that, you can actually pray about that situation, and he can actually remove that toxic person, or he will put you in a position to actually move yourself. And I've seen it happen. I've literally seen this happen, where the person that was toxic in the relationship, I mean, they were there financially just a little bit, but because they were toxic, you know, they were either removed from the entire situation or they were set to the side. You know what I'm saying?
Katrina said some things that really hit home, because to be perfectly honest, it really took the help of those around me to really bounce back from that, because it didn't just take a financial toll. But I guess that's a conversation for another day.
No, you can. I mean, so no, Ty, and I can pause you right there. Right?
I think I know where you even gonna go with that, because it didn't just take a financial toll on me. It took a spiritual and mental toll on me too. And it almost took my life. I almost committed suicide because of my financial situation, my divorce.
Because to be perfectly honest, like the financial part of it was just one piece. So when everything happened, you know, and he left, and I realized, okay, this is what happened. Not just, you know, that you left, but you left me with all of the bills, and told me that I don't live there anymore, so I don't have to take care of anything. I didn't stay in my apartment. I was paying for the apartment. I was behind. It seemed like I was a month behind all the time, but I would just set stuff down and go down to my parents' apartment, across the way to my parents' apartment. I didn't stay there. It took my mother to say, okay, you need to go back to your house. And then when I walk in my house and I've set stuff down, so it's stuff everywhere, because I'm just setting stuff down. I'm setting it on the couch. I'm setting it on the table. I'm setting it here. I'm setting it there. I'm just sitting it down and walking out the house. So it really took a village. I wasn't eating. It just really took a village to really just say, no, this isn't you. This isn't even how you operate. You ain't never let no man affect you this way. Right. As long as I've known you, you have never allowed anything to affect you in this way. So this isn't you, and we have to fix this. So it took my mother and my father being right there, different ones, taking me out, telling me, no, you gotta eat something. You can't just not eat. You have your daughter to take care of, and she's taking this very hard. So, and the reality of it was, I was pregnant. What, did I love him? Yes, I loved him, but I was pregnant. So that's why I went ahead and was like, yeah, let's go ahead and just get married. so that by the time the baby was born, I'd be married. But the reality of it was I ended up losing the baby. So the reality of it was, did he really love you? As much as he say, was that the scenario? What really was the scenario? You get married in September and you gone in January. That wasn't very long. So, you just think about different things, and it's interesting to you. And I mean, we still were married for a year and a half before a divorce ever happened. But the reality of it was, it took a long time. And if I actually sit back and think about it, I'm just at a point where I can honestly say that I'm recovered from everything, that I'm fully recovered from everything. Not that the heartache and the hurt and all of that happened soon after. But all of the other things that you had to deal with, the depression or the emotions or whatever ended up happening, you sometimes you're still dealing with that and not realizing that that's from that. You might think you're okay, and you feel like you're okay, and you feel like you're fine and everything's good, and then all of a sudden something else happens and it's so devastating when it really shouldn't be. And you're like, why is it so? Because we really haven't dealt with that other. So just really finally being in a place where I can say, yeah, I'm totally good now. But could I have said that maybe 4 years ago? I probably would have said it, but it probably wouldn't have been the truth. But honestly, saying that my daughter is in a healthier place about the situation, I'm in a healthier place about the situation, I can honestly say that.
So I want to, before I even jump in, thank you all for being vulnerable and telling your stories and going into depth about what you've gone through, because I know it's not easy. At points in just listening to you talk, I could feel some of the aggression. I can feel some of the hurt. I can feel some of the pain. And one of the things that I often talk about is that I feel that because we don't normalize these type of conversations, we face PTSD or money trauma. Those situations, they affect us deep. And unless you seek some type of professional help or have some accountability partners or just normalize talking about it to realize that you're not alone, you're never fully going to get over what it is that you have, the issues that you're truly facing. How do you regain financial stability? Step one, you've got to first identify that you got a problem. You have to identify that you're in a toxic relationship and that you need to get out of said toxic relationship. And then once you say it, one of the problems that we have with identifying things, we don't want to tell people how it actually affected us. We don't want to say that there was a problem, right? Because we don't want people to know our business. And I'm not saying that. My point too is open communication with your accountability partner. Your accountability partner should be somebody that loves you, somebody that cares about you, somebody who you can go to and just lean on and say, hey, this is what happened to me, and this is how it made me feel. This is how it affected me emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, right? We need to address those things. We need to have people in our corner that we can go to just to talk things out, right? Sometimes we need to just vent. Third is we need to ask those trusted people for help and or encouragement. When I say ask them for help, don't think that they're going to say, okay, like you could say, so-and-so gave me this $30,000 bill and I need you to write me a $30,000 check. That ain't how that works. Right? They can't give you a $30,000 check, but they may have a positive word for you. They may have some encouragement for you, right? Because we truly don't know what the next person is going for. Sometimes we think we can't help and listen to somebody else's situation, but the fact that you're just listening, that actually helps somebody regain, as Trina talked about, she got her financial stability back from just regaining her confidence. right? At the point where she also stated that she felt suicidal at one point in time. So in just talking to someone to just listen to her, to go through with her, to pray with her, to pray over her mind and her finances, right? All of that in itself can help her regain, without her even knowing that she's being covered, her financial stability. The fourth point I have is we have to learn to say no. Once we realize that there is a problem, we have to remember that person doesn't have the control. We have the control, right? So we have the right to come up and say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to let you screw me over. This is not how this situation is going to go. They're going, as Ty said, her ex-husband was talking to his parents about getting advice on what's going to happen inside her household. Ty had every right to say, look, let me tell you something. This is what's going to go for me and my house. And in this house, this is how we gonna run it, right? Now, that could have been a whole nother conversation and how he would have received it. However, look at the outcome that we have now. You get what I'm saying? Same thing. Contracts are being broke. So, I could have just been like, yo, so I only talk to you about this. Talk to my attorney. Because we put things in place to save ourselves, right? My situation, I don't work a 9 to 5. I don't date dudes that don't work. Get out. I mean, you homeless partner. I don't know what to tell you. Man that don't work, don't eat. We have the control. You get what I'm saying? And sometimes because love and emotion and feelings get involved, we don't want to hurt each other's feelings. So we choose to hurt ourselves before hurting others, right? And we need to take the control back and say no and not do that. So now about regaining, what do we have to do to get back on our feet? Clinton talked about how he got a second job. On top of getting a second job, we need to now rebudget. Our debt just went up. We got more bills. We need to reallocate how we spending money. Maybe, we can't now go kick it or go out to a club or a bar or shopping or whatever, travel, right? We need to make a new budget. My best budget hack is splitting my money 3 ways. 50% of all of my money goes to needs, 30% goes to my wants, and 20% goes to secure my financial future. Because no matter what, guess what? I still got to save money. As Trina talked about, she depleted her 401k to help get them out of debt. Now she has to start over. So she's starting over with a new 401k, but that's not going to be enough for retirement right now, because now we're fast forward, 10 years later. And she's just now starting over. So when just now starting over, now we need to look at what that actually looks like, right? If you gave these people access to your bank accounts, don't fight it no more. Don't be like, go take your name off the account. Just go open up a new one.
Yep.
Right? Because remember, your peace means more than anything any of the drama could bring you. The next thing I have is, remember, you're not alone. You're not the first person that's gone through financial abuse, and unfortunately, you won't be the last. We are 4 people who are sitting here having a conversation. You all have never met. You don't know each other. Well, 2 of y'all have met before, but y'all don't know each other.
Don't know.
Never really had a conversation. You don't know the past. You don't know what y'all went through, but everybody got financial abuse in common.
Yeah.
Everybody got a story. The way it actually works is your test could be somebody else's testimony. Correct. Right? What you went through can save somebody else's life. Like, you both are great examples that, guess what? You can come out free and clear on the other side. Clinton is just now going through it. Clinton is fighting his way through. He's still trying to find the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm saying that because he said it's still fresh and he can't talk about it, right?
Right.
Y'all are showing him that, guess what? There's going to be a day that you can talk about it. Ty just said, and I'm completely healed of everything, right? She said, it took a while to get here, but y'all showing, guess what? There's hope. There are people that's going to look at this and say, I don't know how they did it, but guess what? Y'all did it. Last but not least, I just want everybody to know, never give up. Any type of financial restoration, it's a marathon. It is not a sprint. It takes time. It takes money. It takes patience to get to where you need to be. So as long as you invest in you, and that's what you have to do. Continue to invest in you. Continue to hit reset and refocus on your life so that everything can come together the way that you want and according to God's plan. Thank you for streaming Candidly Fierce. We really hope that you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to rate and review us wherever you stream this podcast. As always, the views and the opinions are those of our guests and our host alone. Now go out and have a fierce day on purpose. See you soon.